It is a very important moment as well, of course, because we heard from Professor Jonathan Van Tam yesterday, England's Deputy Chief Medical Officer, warning about those coronavirus infection spikes. Let's have a listen to him.
If we're not careful, if we don't take this incredibly seriously from this point in, we're going to have a bumpy ride over the next few months. People have relaxed too much, and now is the time for us to re-engage and realise that this is a continuing threat to us.
People have relaxed too much. That's part of the problem, isn't it? We think also, well, I think personally, there's a massive issue with testing and why we're not getting up to speed with testing. We are making progress with treatments, of course, social distancing, hand washing and mask wearing. Matt Hancock yesterday did talk to a BBC Radio 1 Newsbeat. I mean, his warning was to younger people who seem to be getting it and potentially spreading it, don't kill your gran. I mean, that was the thing, isn't it? It's that younger people won't suffer with it, but they will take it home and they could infect grandparents.
Yeah, that's right. So we saw another 2,948 cases in the last 24 hours, which unfortunately confirms what we saw the day before with nearly 3,000 cases. So we are seeing a steady rise again in coronavirus cases. Now, some people are saying, don't worry, we're doing more testing, so we will see more positive cases. Unfortunately, the proportion of positive cases per number of people testing is also rising. So this does look like a significant
and more worryingly, Hilary, there was a top French doctor on Channel 4 News last night saying to the British, please do not fail to heed the warnings of what we have done. She said that they've had a massive surge in cases. They're up to 8, 9, 10,000 a day now. But hospitalisations are rising significantly, particularly in intensive care, and have spiked significantly from August into September. And she says there's a clear pattern now between the surge in cases and
the
hospitalisations. Now, what worries me about all this, Hilary, is, you know, I don't understand why anybody wouldn't want to be cautious. We know what we've been through this year. We know how draconian the big lockdown was. Why would anyone not want to be part of making sure that we don't have to go through that again? And the way to ensure that we don't as a country is to be very careful and concerned. And yet the amount, honestly, the amount of complacency I'm seeing is horrifying.
And I know that, but unfortunately, younger people feel that they're invulnerable. They are not going to be affected by COVID-19. And some of them even deny that the virus exists. Now, in France, as you're right, 7,157 cases in the last 24 hours, an exponential rise in the last few weeks, and that is now being mirrored by hospitalisations and deaths. So we are 6 to 8 weeks behind France and Spain. Spain has 8 times the number of cases per 100,000 population, and France 4 times our rate. But we're going to follow suit. We will be there in 6 to 8 weeks, unless, as you say, people abide by the guidelines.
And it doesn't help,
and behave sensibly.
It doesn't help when you get 2 England footballers who've just made their debut for their country.
In Iceland.
You know, Phil Foden from Manchester City, Mason Greenwood from Man United. They're both, what are they, 20 and 18. Right? But they're COVID-idiots. I saw people yesterday all day long trying to defend them and, you know, make out, oh, they're just young lads. They're fine. The young lads represented their country who knew the rules. They would have had it drummed into them, all of them.
To be in a bubble.
You know, I don't understand why there wasn't better security, I have to say, with England team. We know what happened in Mykonos recently with Harry Maguire, and that was because there was no security with him. Why is there not more security to protect these young England players from themselves?
Well, because you think the security was they wanted to protect their places in the squad.
Well, I know, but you can't, honestly, they have to be protected from their own stupidity. But I'm sorry, I feel nothing but, like, these guys, see, these are role models. There are so many young teens who look up to Mason Greenwood and Phil Foden, who want to be like them. They're living the dream for teenagers and 20-year-olds in this country who can think of nothing greater than playing football for England. And now they're going to miss their second game.
Sent home in disgrace.
Because they've been sent home in shame. And they've shamed themselves, their families, their clubs, their country, and all of that. And yet, OK, they're young. All right. There's no excuse, is it, Hilary? I mean, this is the problem. When young people see 2 role models playing for England doing this, sneaking girls back into the bubble of the hotel and so on, it's just a ridiculous state of affairs, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And, you know, Matt Hancock, the Health Secretary, has been criticised for saying that those young people can kill their grannies by being exposed to COVID-19, not being symptomatic themselves, but taking the virus back to their households and infecting older generations. Now, in a way, that's true. Sir David Spiegelhalter, who works on the SAGE committee, has said that the risk of dying from COVID is 500 times greater if you're 80 than if you're 20.
Yeah.
Now, you could say that 20-year-olds don't care about that. Many do, of course, but there is this feeling that it doesn't affect them.
Yeah.
And we've got this desire to get back to full economy, back to normal life, opening bars and restaurants, theatres and restaurants, etc. But at the same time, people still need to observe hygiene measures.
Exactly. And what about the older members of the England staff who are out there in that hotel? Did they think about them? These two idiots?